everybody, it's me, Haley. Welcome back to my channel. And today I wanted to do a little booktube video. Oh guys, I have so many opinions to share, so buckle in, let's get ready. I recently picked up these two books at Target. And, you know, I was in between these two books and, I don't know what the other book I wanted to buy was, but I was like, you know, I've heard a lot about these, and, you know, they're only $11. I'm going to buy both. So I went ahead and I bought both, and I was very scared because it is a 700-page romance. Like, I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it through, how is it 700 pages? But genuinely, guys, the amount of hooked I am on this series, I cannot begin to explain. I started this book on the drive home from my relative's house. I started like 2 hours into the drive, so I had an hour left, and I was genuinely, the sun started to set while I was driving, and I had my phone open and like this because I was in the front seat with my mom. I didn't want to turn the light on, so I had my phone like this at the top of the book so I could read. And guys, and I was hooked. I read the rest of that night and the next night. It took me probably like 3 days to finish this book. I'm not even kidding, like 700 pages. The ending of this book launches you straight into this book. I was so happy that I bought both. So happy. This one was on the floor over there. I was sitting here, I was reading, snapped it shut, went over, picked this up, snapped it open. Here I was, and then I binged this. And this took me like 2 nights then. And then I didn't buy 3, 4, and 5 because I was like, Haley, you can't spend $50 and just buy all these books in one spot. So I was like, I'll wait. I was gonna go to Target that day to pick them up, but I was like, you know, it started pouring outside. I didn't want to drive there. I found out they're on Kindle Unlimited. I said, say less. So I started reading those on Kindle Unlimited. Again, took me like 2 nights for each book. For 700, that's crazy, guys. I don't know if you realize how crazy that is. Like, to just binge those books. Oh my god. That was insane. And I really need to read book 5. I haven't yet. So basically, I have read Binding 13, Keeping 13, Saving 6, and Redeeming 6. And wow, I am actually blown out of the water. So I'm gonna do a section here where I talk spoiler free for anybody who maybe hasn't read it yet, or anybody who has but, you know, just wants to hear my opinion. And then I'm gonna do a spoiler section at the end of the book for my girlies who have read the books so I can really talk about it. So I'm gonna start with the non-spoiler. So if you haven't read it yet, you're safe. Don't worry, girl, I would never do that to you. I also ask that if you comment on this video and you're commenting about the spoiler section, please put like a big warning at the top that you're about to spoil, because I don't want that for anybody. Anyways, so let's start off Binding 13. I'll give you a little bit of context. It's this girl, and her family life is horrible. Her dad is an alcoholic, he beats his kids, the whole shebang. This can feel very Wattpad. I'm not gonna lie to you right now. This can feel very Wattpad, especially because the main character, Shannon, is very meek and small and little, and it talks a lot about how small she is. And that originally for me was a turn off. I was like, really? Like, she's so small, I get it. But, you know, I'm a Wattpad warrior, so I could brave it for the plot, you know? Sometimes you have to ignore a little bit to keep getting through a good plot. But it actually held a purpose, it held a meaning later in the book, so it's really not all that bad. Johnny is like this hotshot rugby player, and, you know, he has a lot of things lined up for him, and he's very successful, and his family is very well off. So classic poor girl, rich guy. He's like protective, and she's very like meek and little and cute, you know. But anyways, they meet because he gets really mad, so he punts a ball into the air, a rugby ball, and it hits her in the back of the head and knocks her out. And then they kind of become inseparable since then. I think my favorite part about their story is his best friend, Gibbsy. He's my favorite character, I think. She also has an older brother, Joey, who's very protective of her and their family and whatever. And it's very intense. There's a lot of drama happening. And their romance is very cute. It's very teenager at times, but also very mature at times because of like what's going on with her. I really love Johnny. He's a great guy, a great book boyfriend. I really don't know how much else I can say without spoiling this book. I just don't want to do that. So I'll talk more in my spoiler section. Keeping 13. So this book is like them getting together, and then this is them being together. And like, I really thought that, like most books, they were gonna break up and like it was going to be a thing of them trying to get back together, some type of miscommunication. Because usually when you read a romance this long, and it takes like 500 pages for them to kiss, I know the exact number, but I don't want you guys to, you know, it takes them so long to even just kiss, and then they finally together, and then you start this one and you're like, how are they going to stay together this whole time? And they do. So sorry if that counts as a spoiler. I don't think it does. But I was fully expecting some petty miscommunication trope, and I did not get that here, and I was happy about that. This one, I think, is less Wattpad than the first one. I think the first one's just more Wattpad because it's, like, introductory, and it's very, like, at the beginning of a Wattpad book, it's always, like, my family's broken, and I needed the bad boy at school. Like, you guys know what I mean, okay? This book had me on my toes, first of all, on, like, gripping the edge of my bed, like, not knowing what to do. I will say, this book and this book, they're very, like, when it comes to, like, spice, it's pretty, like, in-depth. Like, it doesn't glaze over anything. But then when they actually get around to it, it's like a cut to black. I don't really get it. Maybe it's because they're underage, but they had no problem writing about the other stuff. So I don't know why it cuts to black. I don't know. But I was kind of like, okay, fine, like, whatever. But yeah, this, oh my god. And this is a lot about him, like, finding out about her and her past and her family, and, like, trying to, like, balance, like, her and rugby and, like, what he wants with protecting her and just, like, getting closer to her. And it's very sweet and cute, and I love it. For Saving Six, I was originally not excited for this because I was like, I just want to read about Gibbsy. Like, I wanted that to be the next book, but it wasn't. This one's about Joey and his girlfriend Aoife, who pop up a lot in here. And in here, you don't see, like, any of the problems that they actually experience. Like, it's crazy. I was reading their books, and I was like, what do you mean their relationship has so many issues? Like, in here, they're, like, perfect. Like, that's just Joey's girlfriend. That's just that. But it's because, and it's so, like, interesting when you realize that, because from Shannon's POV, like, she doesn't see most of the things that's wrong with her older brother because he doesn't want her to see. But in Saving Six, he's Shannon's brother, so he has a shitty home life. She is, like, she's very headstrong. She knows that she's pretty. She knows that she is funny. She knows how to use her charm to get what she wants. And hit it off their very first day of secondary school. And are kind of inseparable since then, but she has this, like, long-term boyfriend who she doesn't really like, but, like, you know, it's just her boyfriend, whatever. And Joey hates him, obviously, because he likes her, but he won't admit it. Anyway, so it's, like, very cute, like, them getting closer to each other. Like, I personally, I like them more than I like Johnny and Shannon, which is a very unpopular opinion, but I honestly think it's just because Joey is, like, so near and dear to my heart as an oldest sibling. Like, seeing the care he has for his family melts my heart. Like, I hope to be that type of older sibling for my siblings. Obviously, I don't have the same horrible parentals that they have. My parents are great. But I hope that I can be there for my siblings the way that he's constantly there for his. Like, that is the standard for an older sibling, like, genuinely. Anyways, I could talk about Joey all day because he's my favorite. I know I said Gibbsy was my favorite in these books, but honestly, Joey is my favorite character. He's the one that I resonate most with, I think. So it's, like, kind of them, like, navigating their relationship, her, like, coming to the realization that, you know, she doesn't really like her boyfriend. I mean, she always kind of knew that, but she likes Joey, and she's always put it out there that she likes Joey, and Joey's always just kind of been like, no, you're my boss's daughter, like, I don't really want you, whatever. So it's, like, kind of them, like, dancing around each other, and then when it finally gets to them being together, it is the sweetest, cutest thing I've ever read. And then I will say, knowing what happens in this book, I spent the entire of Joey and Aoife's books just waiting for this to happen. Just waiting. So I was honestly just, like, flying through everything because I just wanted to get to this, because I wanted to see it from their POV. And there's a huge bombshell in Redeeming Six. Huge. That you never, ever learn about in Keeping 13. I don't know how Shannon never realized. The girl's too focused on herself, I guess, but genuinely huge. I was like, no, this can't be right. Like, it doesn't show up at all in that book. So I just, wow. And then Redeeming Six is very sad. I cried so much through their two books, but it was nice to see him turn himself around. It was just so sad because he, like, kind of gives up trying on himself at a point in the book, and it's just such a low point for him, and it just makes you feel all of it. And I will say, my personal mental health this past week that I've been reading these books has been horrible. And I don't know if that's just because of me or if I'm just reflecting what I'm reading. So beware, be cautious. Oh my god, my brother's yelling right now. Please. So just beware that these books are very heavy, and I've never understood trigger warnings until now. It's not super I mean, I guess, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm very emotionally invested. Although I will say, I could see reading this book go two ways. Either you'll be like me and you're very emotionally invested in this and you love it, or you can't get past, like, Shannon and her being so, like, small girl, whatever, and you can't handle that, so you give up. Don't give up, okay? That's all I have to say on that. If you have not read these books yet, shoo, go start it. They're on Kindle Unlimited, except for the 5th book. At Target, they're like $11, or go to your local library. And this is not sponsored at all, but there's an app called Libby that I use all the time. It has audiobooks, it has books that you can just read, and you can also download books from your local library on Libby and put it on your Kindle, so you can read all these books for free. The only thing is, for popular books, there's always like a 5-week wait. Like, I remember I waited 9 weeks for Akatar. So there can be a very long wait on some of these books. But honestly, if you just order some of them now and then just go in and start reading maybe a book that you didn't know about, just like go in the search bar and put like available now, and then like go by like most popular if you want like Booktok books, and you can just scroll and then just pick one that's available now and start reading that, and just keep doing that until your book comes out, because it'll fly by. You'll forget that you even placed a hold on it and it'll come out, you know? Anyways, spoiler review version. Okay, first of all, honestly, I don't have that many words about these two books because, in my opinion, Saving and Redeeming 6 overshadow these two books. But I also, no, okay, I can't even say that because I love these books. And I love Johnny, and I love how protective he is, but the constant fighting pisses me off. With him and with Joey, pisses me off. It's very romantic, it's very savior hero of him, but it also just pisses me off because they constantly get in trouble for stuff, and it just like, stop, like, you're stressing me out, like, please. I love the classic machine man turns softie. You see it with like Aaron Warner and Juliet, where he's very like rigid in his schedule, but like, you know, he kind of softens up for her. Same thing with him and his rugby in here. Like, he's never missed a training in his day, and then now he's like missing them all the time for her. Like, wow, like, what a man. He's genuinely such a great boyfriend to her. Like, I can't even express how great of a man he is to her. And him grilling Joey about who was hurting her, oh my god, like, that got me. But I think my favorite part about this book is when they're finally living with Johnny's parents, and the mom pays her little brothers to like keep an eye out for them and make sure they're not alone in a room together or anything. It's just so funny, and his dynamic with Sean is so cute, and his dynamic with I think it's Tig, I don't know if that's how you actually say it. I love him and like their interactions because he's very protective of Shannon, and then Tig is also very protective of his sister, so it's just very like, and do not get me started on him saving all the kids from that house. I was bawling my eyes out like a baby, bawling my eyes out when he was picking them up and walking out with them. He had to have been so scared, and like him blaming himself for the mom afterwards was just like horrible. I cannot imagine being in his shoes. I honestly can't. Like, obviously I feel bad for Shannon, but like, it's not Johnny's family, and he walked into there and saved them, and he could have died, and he didn't even know until he got out. And I remember thinking it was so weird that it was so slippery, and I thought it was so weird that Sean smelled like alcohol. I was like, why is there a mess everywhere? But I guess it's just because the father's drunk or whatever. And it was so obvious, and I just didn't put it together in my head. But the mom doing that last act to save them is so sweet, but I just feel like it just doesn't redeem her at all. Saving and Redeeming 6. Aoife, first of all, one of my favorite FMCs I've ever read. One of my favorite. She is so funny, first of all. So funny. And she's so confident. She's so confident in herself. Every time that Joey's like, I don't love you, she's like, yeah, you do. I know you do. And if I ever had to say that to a guy, I would feel delusional. I'd be so scared that I was delusional. I'd be so scared that he actually doesn't and that I'm just making it up. Like, she is so brave for that. I don't understand how she does it, and she's just so confident. But it's also so heartbreaking to see such a confident girl have like that weak side of her, and that weak side is Joey. And she doesn't take shit from anybody, but she takes so much shit from Joey. So much shit that he puts her through with the drugs and everything. Like, it is horrible. Honestly, like, she deserved better. And I know that Joey was, like, a good person deep down, but when you're a teenager and you're dating another teenager, it's not your responsibility to fix him. It's just not. As much as it hurts to see somebody that you love go down that path, it's not your responsibility. And at so many points in Saving and Redeeming 6, she should have walked away. So many points. It turned out really good for her, but I just don't want anybody who reads that to think that, like, that's how it's gonna go with them, because I've never had to deal with an addict in my life, but I've had friends who've gone down bad paths, and I've realized that, like, you can't do anything. Like, you yourself, you can be there for them and you can support them all you want, but it is always up to them to fix it. And that's what it ended up being. I mean, Joey was forced into it, but then once he had a clear mind, he had to, like, choose for himself that that was what he wanted. And I just felt so bad for Aoife the whole time. So horrible for her. So horrible. All the judgment she went through for being pregnant, which she's pregnant? What? What? When that happened, I was like, she has to, like, miscarry or something, because there's no baby in the other book. She's pregnant the whole time? She has a baby? They have a baby? He has a son? Are you kidding? I was like, no. There's no way. But there was way. I was like, anyways, so that threw me for such a loop. I was shocked. But, like, her having to show up pregnant every day, and everybody saying, like, your baby daddy's a druggie, he's a junkie, he's a horrible person, and her still sticking with him and going back to him, that woman's got grit, because she is a better girl than I am. And I know that if I was put in that situation, I would want to stick around, but she's so strong for, like, still supporting him, and, like, going and paying his debts is crazy. And when she asked Gibbsy for help, and he brought her $600 and said no biggie, like, obviously it is no biggie because he's, like, well off, but Gibbsy, my man, he loved me. Joey is just that guy. He's just that guy. But Lizzie saving him, I was seriously crying my eyes out. I mean, you can assume what happened to her sister. They never come out and say it, but I was seriously bawling my eyes out because I don't really like Lizzie as a character. She's a mid-friend. She doesn't really know what's going on with Shannon, which, I mean, Shannon opens up more to Claire in the first place. And Lizzie's very there for Shannon when she's, like, at school and stuff, but I feel like she's just not the same friend that Claire is. Her whole thing with Huey, first of all, I was looking up who's number 6, because I couldn't remember who 6 was. Like, who's 6 on the rugby team? And then I found out that was Joey, and I was like, okay, who's 7? And it was Gibbsy. And then I saw one of those, like, Google questions, like, does Huey have a book? And I click on it, and it says Huey and Lizzie. And I was like, Huey's with Katie, that doesn't make sense. And so, first of all, I spoiled that for myself before I got there, and I'm kind of mad about it. I don't know how excited I am for that book, because, I don't love cheaters. So, not sure how that's gonna go. Yeah, the only saving grace for Lizzie was her saving Joey. That was it. And then him going to find his house burning down was also horrible. And Johnny, like, picking him up and turning him away from that so he wouldn't see is so gut-wrenching. Like, I was like, Johnny is too good for this world. He's too good for this world. Seeing Joey become a dad was insane. Like, genuinely insane. Can you just sit down and be quiet if you want to be in the video? This is my brother. He's been lurking outside my room, so I brought him in here. Anyways, him being a dad is just so full circle for him to, like, finally have a kid that's, like, his, and it's not his parents' kid that he's taking care of. Like, that's his kid.
Is Joey the one that went to jail 15 times?
Yeah, he's the one that got arrested a lot of times. I was telling him about it. But, like, it was just so sweet to see him, like, accept Aoife, because I fully thought he was going to completely reject the notion of having a kid. And I know he was scared about it, but he was, like, there. He was just always there. And I don't know why I didn't expect him to be, but I don't know. After, like, caring for his siblings for that long, I didn't think he was going to want a kid. But he really stepped up to that plate. I think I'm going to go buy book 5 today. I'm not 100%, but I think I will. I'm going to be making more videos on books soon because I have so many opinions to share. See you guys later. Love you all. Have a great rest of your day.